How's it going, everybody? Mr. Holton here, and yes, indeed, we are back with another Exodus video. This time around, though, I want to do a sort of Q&A because I didn't actually respond to most of you guys' questions that I asked you right after I had gotten to play Exodus not too long ago, so I felt like, I should probably do that today. Unfortunately, I still can't really give you any detailed responses here because, again, I'm under NDA, so I can only speak very, let's just say conceptually or very airy around it, if that's a word you use. I'm gonna read from my phone, actually, and check out the community upload and the responses I got there. And I'll go from the most popular comments and the questions that you guys asked. Anyway, the first question from Bleach O. One question: does it at all fill the BioWare-shaped hole inside your heart? The 12-year-old me inside my soul yearns for something to take me back to 2007 BioWare narrative and companions. Well, here's the thing, right? I only got to play 4 hours, and I can only speak about 2 of those hours, and well, it's hard to say. That's the thing. I think all of us have said basically the same thing that got to try the game. It's really hard to say. It does give me the idea that, yes, that's a possibility that it could fill that BioWare-shaped heart or hole in my chest. And it's obviously something that people are wondering because a lot of the devs or several of the lead devs are older BioWare veterans. So obviously you start thinking about the old BioWare games of the golden age, so to speak, and specifically Mass Effect. I think that's a no-brainer. I saw a comment the other day that said that something about, us creators wanting this to be the next Mass Effect. And it's not really that. It's more just, the DNA is so very strong in this game that comes from that area of that game, of that era, right? So it's not necessarily about like me or anyone else wanting this game to be Mass Effect. It's mostly just Mass Effect is kind of like its own genre when you look at these sci-fi RPGs that's coming up, like Exodus and like The Expanse, Osiris Reborn, in that they are very similar because they're obviously taking a similar route with many things. But I would say it's looking like it could fill that hole in your heart, but we're not sure yet. We haven't played enough, and I definitely haven't played enough. Then we have Alexander Chalk 6197. Is it fun? Yes, I think so. 2, how is the UI intuitive? I think the UI is pretty good. It's relatively minimalistic. I don't think it's too much in your face, and it's properly sci-fi themed, so it's not really something I think too much of. I do think that the scanning mechanic, I think that looks pretty good in terms of UI, when it's like marking enemies and you see their red outlines and stuff like that. I think they've made it pretty clear. I don't think it's too much, and I don't think it's too much in your face, but that's something you guys might disagree with. Again, it's just my personal opinion. 3, how does the game feel to play? Squishy, floaty, or crunchy? This was something I mentioned in my first impressions video. I would say it feels pretty crunchy. It definitely has that heaviness feeling that I'm always looking for in a lot of action games nowadays. That combination of crunchy sound effects with some really heavy movements. I really just enjoy that type of gameplay, I guess. So yeah, crunchy, I would say. It does not feel floaty. It does not feel floaty at all. 4, do the weapons and abilities feel punchy? Yes, I would say so for sure. Then again, the weapons, that's the thing. We only got to use one weapon technically, and that's the recycler, which is a transforming gun, or is it several weapons? It's hard to say, but they do feel kind of different in how you use them, the various modes, that is. So I would say that, well, yes, it feels punchy. Do the role-playing elements look as deep as it seems? This one is, again, like one of those relatively difficult questions to answer because, again, we didn't see too much of it, but a lot of the choices that we saw seems like it's going to lead to some pretty massive things. And that's why I talked so much about scale in the last video, and that it feels like this is gonna not maybe dwarf something like Mass Effect in scale, but it almost feels like it could. You know what I'm trying to get at here. It's like a lot of the things you read of in the books, in the Archimedes engine, and in the encyclopedia. There are so many elements that are so cool, and when you think about the various technologies and what that could lead to, and some of the choices you do make, or that we did get to do, it could probably go places, but we didn't really see the outcome of those things. Jacob Kenny Greenwood, my biggest question is that, does the game invoke a feeling of wonder similar to the vibes of Massive Effect 1, just because of exploration and discovery and everything else? Again, we didn't get to do too much exploration, but it has that vibe. I think a lot of that has to do with the music, which I, again, absolutely love. I think the music is definitely gonna, even if you personally won't love the game, or if you're somebody who might be a little bit, I don't know how I feel about this, I think at the end of the day, the music is gonna do so much in terms of heightening your experience. At least it will for me, because I'm such a big audiophile. Like, when the music is especially good, that can really completely transform my own experience. So I think when you're at those exploration pieces, I think maybe the music is, or that it most likely will make you feel that kind of discovery feel. Again, we didn't do too much there, but from what I got to try in terms of exploration, I think it's not really like Mass Effect 1 in terms of like it's that giant in terms of open world and exploring like big planets. But then again, I don't know. Maybe that's a portion that they introduce later, but I don't think it is. But yeah, it has that vibe, right? Nixa Kayan, I would ask what the companions are like. Do you think any of them have the potential to become as impactful as some of the Mass Effect companions? Oof, again, that's really hard to answer, because I keep saying this for every question because I can't give any real details. But I'd say that in terms of the characters, I think some of them do have potential. Again, the biggest issue for me and for everybody else was, again, for the human characters. It's just, I don't know how to say it other than they just don't look terribly good. And so I think that's one of those things that is going to hold people back. And I think that's going to hold a lot of players back when the game comes out, in case, unless they, can do something about it. I'm not sure really what they can do at this point, but I think for the emotional connection to the humans might be a little bit more difficult due to how they look, but maybe that won't be a factor. It's hard to say. But the aliens or the alien companions. Emrys, for example, is one of your story companions and a celestial, so he's not a human. I think he's probably going to be one of the more interesting ones. And the awakened companions like Salt is going to probably be one of the most interesting ones. And of course, there is Houston, the wolf. But again, it's really difficult to say with the human characters. I still think that there's potential in some of them. Speaking of the human companions, this is something that I got a lot of comments on, with people saying, responding to my quote there, going, I don't think there's Marvel writing, but some people seem to have picked up on one of the companions seeming like they have a little bit of that, and that would be Phaedra, right? If you picked up on that and you're like, oh, that's almost, that almost seems like cheesy, almost quirky Marvel writing, that is that area where I would say that, yes, that kind of makes it seem like there is. And so when I finally got to see her, especially with the, the reveal that came out not too long ago, with June talking to her in that ruin, that made me go, so she's not what I expected, and I'm not sure I like it, because my idea was that she was this very... I had this, I don't know why I got this feeling that she was probably not going to be like that. The opposite of what she is. She's very talkative, so I don't know, man. She's probably going to be one of those characters that I'm probably going to engage the least with, because I don't really particularly enjoy too much of that very yappy, quirky dialogue scenes. Oh, I'm so weird, I'm so odd, and I'm so, I'm so quirky. I kind of get annoyed by that too. So yes, to respond to your question here, yes, I do feel like a lot of them have potential, but some of them I do feel like, you know, and specifically, I'm thinking about Phaedra here. Ivan Dread, how does the writing hold up for what time you had to play? Again, that's something that I'd say that it's pretty good. I think it's pretty majestic. They've really made it feel like a somber and serious universe, and I like that a lot. But then again, you know, we're gonna have to wait and see how they balance that out with, you know, some of the more moments that bring more levity to the scene. Automatic Snake, how was the AI? One of the short clips had an enemy stand idle eating an entire clip, and are there options to remove things from the HUD, like the damn yellow guide mark? Not sure about the options there from the HUD, but I would say that the AI feels better than it looks in some of the footage. That said, there were moments where I started wondering if the enemies only attack you and not your companions. I've tried to dive a little bit deeper into this, but I haven't really found any satisfying answer to if they actually did attack my companions. I'm having a hard time remembering right now, but I've tried, you know, we've chatted together, and I don't think I've gotten a response from anyone else that tried the game that they had the enemies attack their companions. So I do wonder how much of the enemies will actually focus on you versus your companions in the final game. But as far as I remember, they were mostly focusing on me. So that's my concern with the AI, in that it doesn't feel like, you know, they consider my companions as dangerous enemies and they have to deal with those. So that's probably my concern right now. But otherwise, I would say that the AI is definitely better in the game when they move around and take cover and, you know, attack you, comparatively to what you guys have seen. DMC fan 1214, is there a romance system for companions? I mean, if you want to romance your companions, yes, there is. There is a romance system. I didn't get to engage with it though. So, but there is. It has been confirmed. BRK Trident 246. I'm a simple guy. I noticed the lack of a rolling dash animation in the game. Is there a designated dash roll button for combat and free roam? And do they have hairstyles for a variety of races in the game? You can dash in the game, absolutely. And as far as I remember, I think I was playing on an Xbox controller, I think, or was it it's hard to remember now, but yes, I think the dash on the controller was the joystick button. You press down, or R3 or L3. It felt pretty good in terms of, you know, moving around. But yes, there is a dash and there is a roll. I think the roll is on B, if I remember correctly. But yeah, there is essentially a designated rolling button. They might actually have been on the same button now that I think about it. The dash and the roll, you hold to dash and you tap to roll. But I might be misremembering here, so take that with a grain of salt. But overall, I would say that it felt good. When it comes to hairstyles for the races in the game, I didn't really think of that. I think most of the only individuals that do have hairstyles are humans. And yes, they do have a variety of hairstyles, like the NPCs, that is, but I didn't get to see much other than 2 hairstyles for male June. That's the ones you've seen already, like the long hairstyle and then the short hairstyle from the trailer or the showcase, but that's basically it as far as I know. Cursed Monkey 1033, how's the time dilation stuff? Does it work well, or is it basically a gimmick, or did they end up with a bad thing? I don't know how that plays out really just yet. Again, we've only gotten to make choices, but we haven't seen them really play out. So again, that's hard to say. I really do want to see time dilation really in full action. We do see some bits and pieces of it in the latest showcase, I think, where Chris King actually narrates and he talks about, you know, some of the choices you make, and you can see some of the variety in terms of environments and stuff like that, depending on what you do, how that affects Leiden, you know, the planet you're from. So I can't really say just yet. I don't think anybody can really say anything yet about the time dilation. I really hope it's as huge as they've talked it up to be. Nick Rubin 7312 here. With the number 1, did you playtest character creation part as well? If yes, how is it generally speaking? I did not, so I cannot say. 2, are there skill trees? And if so, are they companion specific or class specific, class system or classless? There are skill skill trees, but I can't talk much about them. 3. What is, in your estimation, pre-rendered cutscene to gameplay ratio during the part that you've played? Definitely much more gameplay, but I would say maybe, this is such a hard guess, maybe 80 to 20, 80% gameplay, 20% cinematic and cutscene as far as I remember. Most of the time was actually just, trying to finish the various missions that we were on in time before, like, we had to stop. How interesting would the combat system be that you've played? If there was any combat after certain amounts of hours, did it seem repetitive or not at all? Well, again, it's like only a couple of hours here, but I would say that no, it does not feel repetitive to me. But I mentioned this before about the recycler rifle. I do feel like it could become repetitive if you don't have enough variety in terms of weapon choices and cycling through various weapon types. So I don't think it got repetitive. I thought it was pretty, it was pretty good. It was pretty fun all the time. But I can see it becoming an issue later on if there isn't any variety. But then again, I don't know. Because we don't know the full answer to that. Was there a goddamn moment during the time you tested when you thought this is really cool, player will like it? Yes, there were several of those moments. Again, cannot give you any specifics here, but yeah, there were moments where I was like, oh damn, yeah, this is gonna be huge. I think people are gonna get some goosebumps from this. But yeah, I can't talk much about it. 5, how is the dialogue in comparison to what we saw in the showcase and reveal videos? As I mentioned before, I thought it was pretty good. Again, there are some moments specifically with specific characters that felt a little, maybe they should try to look at this again, like I mentioned before. Is the octopus companion romanceable? Unfortunately not. I can see you there, Deep. All right, so just as I was about to publish this video, we got a brand new news update or community update from Archetype Entertainment, the June 2026 community update, where a pretty big detail was just revealed, and let's just say it's causing quite the commotion. So I'll be jumping to the part where they talk about it here in this community update. Character customization. Character customization has been widely discussed since our reveal. As we continue to reveal more about our game, we want to be upfront and transparent with you about where character customization stands. This has been a long journey, and along the way, we made a creative decision to build a more defined character. Our customization feature set is focused on curated options rather than a full slider-based character creator. This means June will have a more established look with options including hairstyles, facial hair, hair color, eye color, makeup, and tattoos. We're excited to pull back the curtain and give sneak peeks at some of those customization options in the Exodus Discord over the next few months. We hope you'll see how it fits into our vision for June, while still giving you the flexibility to bring some of your own style to the character. All right, I've already seen the fallout after this revelation, and well, let's just say that people aren't necessarily super happy. Just looking at some of the comments down here, it's pretty obvious that people were absolutely expecting some form of character creator where you can switch out maybe June's face, the facial presets. Again, like kind of like Mass Effect does it, where you don't have like unlimited choices and where it's not like Dragon's Dogma 2 depth, but it's enough where you can actually just make your character closer to what you would prefer, I guess. For example, we have Sensual Pen here, a user saying, no character creation, that's a huge L. The whole appeal of RPGs is making your own character. This kills a lot of the replay value for me. This character creator choice is a really, really terrible idea. Half of the reason why I love Mass Effect so much is because you get to fully customize your Shepard. He can literally be you. I promise you that you're going to lose points by doing this. Yeah, there's a ton of comments like this, and I don't blame you guys. Like, I get it. It's one of those things where, especially since Chad and the team had already confirmed way back when, a couple of years ago, when the game was first revealed, that there was going to be a character creator, but they've had to cut it because of probably either budget or time reasons that they won't be able to have that done in time for next year. And like I get it. I saw Kayla Elizabeth's video on it, and she's pretty upset too. And the thing is, obviously, you guys are gonna ask me, what's your opinion on it, Alex? And well, I'm disappointed. I am, because if you've also been watching a lot of my content, you know that when I've covered Cyberpunk, or when I've covered Dragon's Dogma 2, like whatever game I play that has a character creator, I go pretty in depth in making my characters as possible. And so this is definitely disappointing, but it's more disappointing in the way where it wouldn't have been this big of a deal if June didn't look the way he does. The way, again, this was mentioned before, like the faces is the biggest issue with this game. It's the human faces, man. And if June just looked better, if they can actually make June look better and the female June look good at the end of the day, I could see myself being more lenient towards it because I've actually played the game, you know, like Wolfart FPS, like Kayla Elizabeth, like Dantix, and well, all of us say that the game is pretty good. Like the parts that we've actually tried are good. We're being transparent. It is good, the parts we've played, but the faces, man. And so again, like this wouldn't be as big of an issue if they just looked better. And I think it's cool that they do mention that there's going to be customization. You are going to be able to change things like hairstyle and eye color and beards and what have you, you know? Now, we shouldn't neglect to mention that at the end of the day, this all boils down to an issue of expectations. Because as I mentioned before, since Chad Robertson went public a couple of years ago saying that there would be a character creator, there has been quite a few people that have been interested in Exodus for this specific reason, you know, that they're going to be able to create their own sort of sci-fi avatar, kind of like in Mass Effect. And this game has been touted kind of like the Mass Effect spiritual successor, unofficially, of course, not by Archetype themselves, but it still has that spirit about it. And I think it shows once again that when you announce a game, you have to make absolutely sure that you don't overpromise features that are not going to be in your game at the end of the day. But then again, you know, Archetype, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt because they're technically a new studio and this is their first game. So I get it, you know, they have to cut things, but I think this is one of those major gameplay elements that I feel like, yeah, a lot of people seem to be feeling that the game should probably be delayed if they can just get that into the game. Personally, I don't know, man. I'm conflicted. I'm not unhyped. I'm not unexcited for the game, obviously. But you'd have to ask me another day. Would I prefer if they delayed the game? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. You guys are going to have to tell me in the comments below what you think here. My opinion is not the only one that matters. At any rate, that's going to have to be it for today's video. I know it kind of ended off a little bit of a bummer here, but hopefully you guys appreciate it either way. And remember to subscribe for more Exodus because I will keep covering the game. Don't you worry about that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Mr. Holton signing off.